Chapter 12. The first thing I realized was that I could feel the weight of my own skin. It was a heavy, grounding sensation, completely different from the fluid weightlessness of the tank, or the borrowed, energetic vitality of Alex's body. My limbs felt like they were made of lead. My muscles were so atrophied they seemed to hum with a dull, constant ache. My lungs felt small and stiff, and every breath was a conscious, slightly painful effort. But the air was wonderful. It didn't taste like ozone, recycled chemicals, or the dry, ancient paper of the Simeon corridor. It tasted like vanilla candles, lavender laundry detergent, and the damp, salty, heavy mist of a brewing storm. I opened my eyes slowly. The ceiling was made of the familiar, jagged black stone of the White Rock Castle, but the grim architecture was almost entirely hidden. Pink silk tapestries were draped across the stone like soft bandages, together with long strings of fairy lights shaped like tiny, glowing bows. They were casting a warm, syrupy light across the room. "And you are finally back with us," a voice said. The sound was soft, grounded, and lacked the manic, high-pitched edge I had grown to expect from her. I turned my head, and the movement made the room tilt for a dizzying second. Sasha was sitting in that neon-green armchair that pulsed with a lime shimmer glow. She wasn't wearing her department robes or the heavy, iron-studded leather she usually favored for a battle. She was wrapped in an oversized pink hoodie with a cartoon kitten wearing a crown on the front. Her orange hair was a messy nest pulled into a loose ponytail, and she was holding a steaming mug of tea with both hands. She looked exhausted. There were dark circles under her eyes, and her usual aura of orange static was dim, flickering like a candle in a wind. "Where am I?" I croaked. My voice was a wreck, a dry rattle that sounded like it belonged to someone twice my age. "White Rock," she said. She didn't move immediately, as if giving me space to realize I wasn't being hunted. "My room, specifically. It is the only place I know where the department's tracking sigils can't penetrate the stone. The walls are too thick, and my father's pride is a better shield than any spell, actually." "You have been out for nearly 3 days, Max. I was starting to think that I might have to keep you as a very expensive, very golden statue." She stood up slowly. Her movements were stiff, and walked over to the nightstand. She picked up a glass of water and sat on the edge of the bed. She didn't use the magic to lift my head. She just reached out with a steady hand and helped me take a sip. The water was cold and real. It felt like a miracle sliding down my throat. "The spire?" I asked after a long silence. Sasha set the glass down and looked towards the window. Beyond the heart-shaped stickers on the glass, the ocean was roaring in violent gray colors. The spire fell, Max. The yellow nodes Margot planted at the base did their work perfectly. When Martha hit the upper wards with everything she had, the internal shielding could not ground the feedback. The central core snapped. The whole monolith tilted into the white void like a broken tooth. The department right now is in a total structural collapse. Alinis is trying to hold the remaining levels together, but the High Council is screaming. They lost the gold feed. They lost the pillar. She looked back at me. Her green eyes were clear and remarkably down to earth. "They think you are dead, Max. They think that the vessel detonated in the breach. For the first time since you stepped through the first door, you are a ghost. You do not exist on any department ledger anymore. They are too busy digging their friends out of the obsidian rubble to look for a body they assume was vaporized." I sank back into the plush pillows, feeling the silence of my own mind. The passenger seat was empty. No machine voice, no Alex. Alex, I said quietly. The other boy, the container, did he make it? Sasha nodded, with a small, tired smile touching her lips. Margot got him out. She used an Islander portal on the first level while the spire was tilting. Last I heard from my contacts, they were spotted in the southern reefs. He is safe, Max. He is just a gloomy kid again, probably wondering if the last few weeks were some kind of vivid nightmare. Margot is with him. She is protective. I think she realized that a disappointed potato is easier to handle than a world-shattering simian soul. She lied to him the whole time, I murmured, thinking of the yellow nodes Margot had planted while Alex was looking for his father's scrolls. She used him just like everyone else, just like Louis used me. She did, Sasha admitted with her voice being soft. But she stayed to fight Martha so he could get away. In this world, that is about as close to a confession of love as you are going to get. People are complicated, Max, especially the ones with secrets. She might have used him as a shield, but she chose to be his shield in the end. I looked into the mirror on the nightstand beside me. The golden simian mark was still there, present on my forehead. It wasn't glowing anymore. It was just a faint, metallic stain on my pale skin. I thought about the lab. I thought about Louis's massacre. And then the memory I wanted to bury the most came back. The feeling of Martha's hand on my chest with a cold, predatory pull of her hunger. She tried to eat me, Sasha, I said with the words to the ceiling, wanting them to be a lie. Back there in the lab, I looked at her eyes and I realized she wasn't looking at me. She was looking at the gold inside me. I was just a refill to her. Sasha didn't say I told you so. She didn't offer a cynical laugh. She just reached out and pulled the blanket higher over my chest. She is a royal vampire, Max. Their love is a hungry thing. She was dying, shredding herself to pieces to reach you, and when she finally had you, her instincts took over. To her, there is no difference between loving someone and owning them. She saw that you were the only thing that could stop her from burning out, and she took it. She did not even think about it. That is the tragedy of her. She fought the whole world for you, but in the end she couldn't fight herself. I thought she was the only one who didn't see me as a battery, I said, with my chest being tight with a grief that had nothing to do with magic. Sasha looked away. Her fingers were tracing the edge of her tea mug. Maybe she didn't at the start, but the world has a way of turning us all into things we hate. I am the daughter of Count Remus, Max. I know what it is like to be seen as a tool, an extension of someone else's power. That is why I saved you, not because I wanted a battery for myself, but because I wanted to see what happens when the battery finally decides to go cold. Is that why you have all this? I asked, looking around the room at the plushes and the pink tapestries, the Hello Kitty stuff, the stickers. Sasha shrugged, and a faint blush crept over her cheeks. It is my fortress, Max. If the world is going to be a grim, stone-hearted sprawl of archmages and monsters, I might as well have something pink and stupid to look at. It is a way of saying no to the gloom. It is the only thing that is truly mine. A soft knock at the door broke the silence. The door creaked open and Villain, the goblin butler, shuffled in carrying a silver tray. His eyes flickered as he saw me awake, but he didn't make a sarcastic comment for once. He just placed a bowl of thick, savory-smelling broth on the table and gave a small, respectful nod. The Count is in the lower library, Lady Sasha, Villain pronounced slowly. He is displeased with the news from Darton. He has requested that you stay in your quarters until the storm passes. He says the air outside smells of failure and burned obsidian. Good, Sasha said, not turning. Let him be displeased. It keeps him in the basement anyways. Villain retreated with a bow, and the door clicked shut behind him. Sasha handed me a spoon for the broth. It is real food, Max. Villain stole the ingredients from the main kitchen. No stasis fluid, no chemical supplements, just vegetable broth and actual salt. I took a shaky sip. It was the most incredible thing I had ever tasted. What happens now, Sasha? I can't stay in this room forever. My mother, my life on Earth, 1.5 years has passed there. My parents probably think I am dead. Sasha sat back in the neon chair, watching me. You are dead, Max. To the department, to the islands, and to Earth. The 1.5 years that passed, that is the price of the corridor. You cannot go back. Even if you found the right door now, you are not the same boy who left back then. The simian essence is a part of you now. It is integrated. Your soul has rewritten itself to accommodate the gold. So, I am a pillar, it turns out, I said, with the word feeling like a long, complicated sentence. You are the source, she corrected, but for the first time you are a source with no leash. The spire is gone. Martha is somewhere in the simian corridor, probably haunting the doors like a ghost, too weak to cross back. The department is blind. You have a choice, Max. For the first time in your life, nobody is telling you where to stand. What would you do? I asked. Sasha looked at the window, where a lightning bolt illuminated the dark ocean for a split second. I would wait. I would heal. I would learn how to use that gold in your veins for something other than powering a city or someone else's aspirations. The world is going to be very loud very soon, Max. The power vacuum left by the spire is going to bring every monster out of the dark. You are the only variable they haven't solved yet. I looked at a Hello Kitty pirate plushie on the windowsill, its tiny plastic sword being drawn at the storm behind the window. I am tired of being a variable. Then be a person, Sasha said. That is much harder, but the tea is better. She stood up and walked to the door. I will be in the next room if you need anything. A villain will bring more water. Try to sleep, Max. Real sleep I am talking about, not the kind when you are watching someone else's life. She left the room with a soft click of the door. I laid there for a long time, listening to the relentless roar of the ocean. The spire had fallen, and the world I knew was a graveyard of obsidian now. But as the vanilla candle flickered and the fairy lights cast their syrupy glow, I realized that I wasn't afraid of the silence in my head. I reached for the sparkly notebook on the nightstand, the one with the kitten stickers on the cover. I opened it to the first blank page. There was no right decision, I whispered to the empty room. No wrong one either. There was only the one you made. I picked up the glittery pen and began to write. Not a formula, not a coordinate, but a story. My story. The firewood was gone. The room was warm. And for the first time in a while, I was the one holding the match.